Hey folks, this is Mary. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Sunday, so that means this is another episode of Swatching Sunday, and we're just going to continue where we left off last time. This is my first rack of ink samples. I have, I think, 4 or 5 of them, and I just need to get all of these inks swatched, so I will have swatch cards to compare with other inks. And the reason I keep doing this is because the labels don't want to stick. When I first bought these labels, they're really big, solid paper labels. I thought I had really accomplished something when I found these labels, but they just don't stick very well. The little reinforcer labels seem to stick much better, but these are what I used when I first got started, and they do okay. I just occasionally find a lonely sticker off by itself somewhere, and then I have to figure out which bottle it came off of. And maybe someday I will get all of them switched over to the little reinforcer labels, but for now I'm just going to stick with these, and I'm going to keep sticking them down. Anyway, let's get started. I feel like there was something else I was going to tell you. Maybe it'll come to me. Oh, this is the last of my stack of swatch cards. I made a video, I guess a month or so ago maybe, of cutting out the swatch cards, and I have used that entire stack. So I'm going to have to make another stack of them, but I'm going to use these cards today as far as they'll go, and then I will be making some more cards. Okay, so last time we left off with Emerald of Chivor, this one right here. So I'm just going to hop over to this one, and off we go. So this is Diamine Burnt Sienna. That name sounds very familiar. I'm thinking I might have bought a bottle of that when I was over at Pen Lovers Paradise. I'm going to go ahead and swatch this because I don't want to go over and check the cabinet to see what bottle I have over there, but I will check after the video. But Pen Lovers Paradise is a fountain pen shop near me, and I don't talk about that one very much because the Norfolk Stationery is so close to me. It is so dangerously close to me that I go there all the time. And Pen Lovers Paradise is a bit farther away, and it's a bit trickier to get to. But it's also a very nice pen shop. And I need to watch when I'm writing and talking, because the last time I wrote down that an ink was purple when in fact it was orange. So I'll try to be more careful this time and not talk quite so much while I'm writing. So this is Burnt Sienna. And I have the worst time writing E's on this paper with this glass nib. Anyway. So, I was at Fountain Pen Paradise, gosh, at the beginning of the year, I think. I usually make about a twice-year pilgrimage over to Pen Lovers Paradise. And she was getting rid of her Diamine inks. She said she wasn't going to be carrying them anymore. And I don't know why. I think she had trouble with, I can't think of the word, the supplier. She had trouble with the supplier, and she had trouble getting the inks, so she had just decided to stop carrying them. So all the ones that she had were on clearance. Wow, that is a really, what is the word for that? It's a very thin ink, a very watery ink. Huh. Some inks are really thick. They're almost like paint, but this one is very thin and watery looking. So that's going to be interesting. But this might be one that I will have to add to my list of orange inks to try out for the fall. Very nice. But anyway, she was getting rid of her Diamine inks, and she only had a few left, of course. Since I hardly ever go there, I missed the beginning of her clearance sale. Oh, I guess I need to set this aside. So she only had a few bottles left, And now I can't recall which ones I got, but I want to say burnt sienna was one of them, or maybe it was sepia. It was a brownish color. All right, this is Lamy Ruby. This is, I think this is one of the crystal inks, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. And I have bottles of several of the crystal inks, but I don't have a bottle of the ruby. I just have the sample. Because, again, reds are generally not my favorite colors, so I tend not to buy bottles of them. And yeah, with these Goulet samples, you really have to get down in there and be careful about getting down in there because the ink level is low. Maybe they need to come up with a shorter, wider sample vial so you can get your pens down in there more easily. Actually, I think I saw some shorter, wider ones on Amazon, but I didn't purchase any of them to try out. Okay, so this is Lamy. I'm just going to put the name that's on the label because I'm not entirely sure it's a crystal ink, but I'm pretty sure it is. Lamy Ruby. Because I think for the most part, the Lamy inks, the names of the inks are just basic names, like Lamy Black, Lamy Blue, Lamy Blue Black, you know. They don't have fancy names, but within the crystal line, they do have fancier names, and they're all named after gemstones. So Lamy Ruby sounds like it would be one of the crystal inks. So anyway. But yeah, I bought these 2 giant bottles of diamine ink, and I don't remember what I paid for them. It was a crazy low amount, maybe like $5 or something. And of course, if she had had more of them available, I would have bought more of them because, hey, I can't turn down cheap ink. Now again, this one is seeming very, very thin, very watery. And I am not getting a drip out of this sucker at all. I re-dipped the Q-tip, and it is just not dripping. So again, I always find it very interesting, the inks that drip and the inks that don't drip. Alrighty, so setting this one aside. Oh, let's see. Now here's an orangey looking one. This is Monteverde Topaz. I've been thinking about making a little tour video of the Norfolk Stationery, but maybe I'll have to do tour videos of all of the fountain pen places around here. There are 3 of them. There's the Norfolk Stationery, and there's Pen Lovers Paradise, and there's one over in Hampton. I think it's just called the Hampton Stationery. And I think I've talked about them a little bit before. They have a very small fountain pen area. Again, let me pay attention to what I'm writing. Monteverde Topaz. It's actually quite a big shop, and it's in this beautiful old building. I think it used to be a general store, you know, like 100 years ago or something. So it has that antique-y kind of feel. But I think mostly what they do is actual stationery products, like paper products. So they do a lot of, you know, wedding invitations and, you know, baby shower announcements or, you know, baby announcements. And they have lots of different books and stationery and envelopes and all those kinds of things like that. And then they have a very small area of the front counter that's dedicated to fountain pens. And that was actually the first place where I ever tried a vanishing point. They have a vanishing point on one of those little chains like at the bank. It's chained to the desk so you can test it out. But I was talking to the shop owner. Okay, so here's Monteverde Topaz. And we're setting him aside. I was talking to the shop owner, and he, I'm trying to remember what the nib size was. I want to say maybe it was a medium, but it wrote like a Sharpie marker. I mean, it was way past medium, and the owners said that it had been used so many times by so many people that the nib was just pretty much shot, but they didn't change it out because everybody used it, so they didn't want to keep putting a very expensive gold nib in it just to get worn out again. So that wasn't the best example of a vanishing point medium nib, but still it was fun to handle the pen. So it's nice to get a chance to try out pens and just play around with them. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read the name of this one. This is Caveco Royal Blue. And I'm pretty sure this came from, oh yeah, it says on there, ink journal. So this is from my one and only ink journal flight. Alright, Caveco Royal Blue. Very nice, very purpley kind of. So, anyway, oh, I was talking about the pen over at the Hampton Stationery. So, I just thought it would be really cool if there were places you could go to try out pens before you buy them. Now, I have been to the Norfolk Stationery, and they let me try out a pen. I think it was a Sailor pen. They, you might have seen on, oh dear, I can't think of her name. Gourmet Pens. On Gourmet Pens channel, she got her hands on the Sailor counter display where it had all the different nib sizes of the Sailor pens. Well, they have one like that over at the Norfolk Stationery. So they were showing it to me right when they had gotten it, and I don't know, I'm always, I hate to impose on people, you know, so what I really wanted to do was to try out every single one of the pens, but I didn't want to be greedy and make a lot of mess for them, because, you know, once you use one of the pens, then they have to clean it. So I didn't want to cause them any problems or cause them any hassles, so I just tried one of the pens. But I think it would be really fun if there was a place that you could go where you could try out the pens. This one is Caveco Smoky Gray. So having that pen chained to the desk at the Hampton Stationery, that was pretty cool, because then you could just stop by anytime and try out the pen. But I found that most shop owners are really gracious and really helpful, and you know, they love talking to customers, and they love it when people are excited about their products. So I love going to pen shops and talking to people that like fountain pens, because I just don't know many people. Okay, I don't know anyone in my life who likes fountain pens, only the shop owners, which is why I go there so much. Okay, this is Smoky Gray, and they're spelling gray with an E. That is one of the great debates. Do you spell gray with an E or an A? My preference is to use an A, but I don't know where that difference came from. I don't know if gray with an A means one thing and gray with an E means something else. You know, back in the day, if they originally meant different things. But I am seeing some nice shading on this ink. Wow. Let's see. It's very light though. Ooh. Get this up here where you guys can see it. Yep, not getting much of a drip here. Let's try again. Maybe that's just the Caveco inks. Maybe these are drier inks. Yep, he's got a little bit of a drip. But if you look at the writing, I see some nice shading in the writing. So it'll be interesting to get this one in a pen, because of course the glass nib reacts differently than a regular pen does. Okay. All right, this is Monte Grappa Dark Blue. Ooh, I've never tried a Monte Grappa ink. which is exactly why I got these samples, the samples that I've never used before. But here I am using this sample. Okay, and it, just looking at the blob on top, that doesn't really look dark blue. It looks more gray or blue-gray. So we'll see what we've got here. And again, it's hard to get that glass nib down in the pen. Let me see. Oh, I think I've been forgetting to put my little S on there for sample. Monteverde. And this is dark, dark blue. Definitely a blue-gray. Let's see. Oh, well, that's very nice. And he had a big drip, which is always exciting. So yeah, I was thinking that maybe I should make videos of all of the fountain pen shops around here. And somebody left a comment on one of my other videos that there weren't any fountain pen shops in her area. This is Lamy Benitoite. Okay, I have just recently purchased a bottle of this. So I'm thinking, I think I already did a swatch card when I bought the bottle. So I think I'm going to have to move this one into my duplicate sample slot. So we will just move right along. Okay, this is Monteverde Sapphire. Ooh, this is one that I've been wanting to try. I really like Monteverde inks, and they have some beautiful ones. Let's see. So this is a sample. Yeah, this is feeling much wetter. It's flowing off of this glass nib much better than those Caveco inks did. Sapphire. Now I'm thinking, I don't think I have this ink. See, this is the problem. I buy these samples and then I put them away and don't use them, and then I buy another sample because I really like the ink. Or sometimes I just go crazy and buy a whole bottle and I forget that I had a sample. So I need to have a better inventory of my inks. Yep. Ooh, that is very wet. He's just running all over the place, which is good. Okay. Next up we have Diamine Meadow. Now this is another one of the green inks that I purchased hoping to match my Yoda pen. And here's Mr. Yoda. But I've never actually gotten any of these inks in the Yoda pen. And this color, I don't think I would like to write with this color. Which again is why these inks have just sat. It's one of the many reasons why these inks have just sat. Okay, so this is a sample, and it is Diamine Meadow. I got this from Goulet Pens, and I have to say, their, what is it, the swab shop? That is super fun. I love looking at the ink swatches on their site. You can just browse by color, or you can pick out several to compare. it's really interesting. So I went to the lighter green section and just looked at all of these light greens and picked out the ones that I thought would match the pen. And here I am putting the swatch away, and I haven't even swatched it yet. And I just knocked some Q-tips off the table, but that's okay. Ooh, now this is a bit greener than I was thinking. That's actually pretty nice. Oh, he's not wanting to drip. All right, come on now, honey. We got a little drip, but we'll see how he does. Oh, let's see. So what are we thinking? That's not a bad match. I think when I was looking into the green inks, I found a lot of references to Apple Glory, but I didn't like that one as much as Meadow. So of the lighter greens, I think this one might be my favorite. But we will see how he looks when he dries. Alrighty, getting down to the end of the cards here. Just a couple more. Alright, this is Lamy Red. Now I do remember when I purchased this at Goulet that it was on clearance, and was Lamy discontinuing this ink maybe? And I think in one of the videos Brian Goulet said something about how it was too light of a red, or it was too pinkish of a red, and it just wasn't a very good seller. So they were, I don't know if Lamy discontinued it or if Goulet was just not going to carry it anymore. But again, it was on clearance, so what did I do? I bought 2 samples and combined them. So I have enough Lamy Red to last me for years if I should ever decide to use it. But yeah, looking at it on the card, it's kind of a, I don't know, like an orangey pink. I wouldn't really call that red. Interesting. Whoa. Yeah, that's more like a coral. Wow. Isn't one of the new... Wait a minute. There's a new pen out that's a coral. Is it the TWSBI Eco? I can't remember. But there is a new pen out that's coral. And I don't know, I think that might be a pretty good match for that coral pen. But yeah, I wouldn't call that red. It's looking orange up here and then more pinkish down there. Wow. Interesting. So then you have to wonder if they didn't call this Lamy Red, if they called it Lamy Coral, or, you know, Fired Peach or something, if it would sell better. You know, that names do make a difference, I have to say. Okay, so I think this is my final card, which means this will be our final cover. Ooh, this is Robert Oster, and I think it's Aster Kieser Rot. I could be wrong about that. Robert Oster, Aster Kieser Rot. And this also came from Goulet Pens, and I got this in a sample, one of the like mystery sample sets that you could get, and the name of it really turned me off. You know, we were just talking about names, and I don't know. Aster Kieser was just such a strange name, and then Rot, I thought, ooh, it's rotten. I don't want to use something that's rotten. So, but I think Chris Sines was just using this on her channel. She's been doing the month of red inks. Okay, I need to write this down, so I better not talk while I'm doing it. Robert, or who knows what I might write on the paper. Robert Oster and Aster, I'm going to try to spell this right. Aster Kieser Rot. So, anyway, I think she said that Aster Kieser was a person and Rot means red. So it's a red ink named after a person, which is perfectly logical and nice. But I was just judging it on my own limited knowledge, and shame on me for doing that. It's looking very reddish brown. Ooh. I had a crayon in my box of Crayola crayons when I was a kid. It was my favorite color, and I think it was called Indian Red, which these days would not be very politically correct. But it was this gorgeous reddish brown, and I loved it so much. And this kind of reminds me of that. This is definitely red, but like a darker red. And again, I'm not a huge fan of red, but a color like this, I could get into this color. That's nice. Okay, well, I am out of cards, so that means we are going to have to wrap up Swatching Sunday for today, but I'm going to let these samples dry a little bit, and then I will come back and we will see what we've got. So hang on, I will be back, and with the magic of video, I will be right back. Alright, so the inks have had a few minutes to dry, and I'm going to get this rack out of the way, so we'll have a little bit more space, and a little bit more light, I think, too. Whew, it's trying to get away from me. Okay, so here is Burnt Sienna, and oh, I forgot to go look and see what that bottle is I have over in the cabinet. But this is a very light looking ink to me. Would we call this an unsaturated ink? And it's got kind of a ring around the dark area there. So that's interesting. I wouldn't call that sheen though. I don't know. Is that a halo? I'm not sure. But very interesting. And here is Lamy Ruby. And I like I said, I think this is one of the Lamy crystal inks. And again, it's seeming very unsaturated. I don't know. I haven't used this ink before, obviously, because I have a sample of it. But the other crystal inks that I have used are much more saturated. So, I don't know. And I don't see any sheen or anything. But it does look like it would have some good shading. I'm looking at the letters up here. I see some shading in the letters. Alright. Here is Monteverde Topaz. And again, not a huge fan of the orange inks, but we are moving into fall. So this one might be a fun one to play with this fall. And this is looking very light down here, but the writing, I think, is very pretty. So again, you have to get an ink into a pen, and inks behave differently from pen to pen. So you have to try them out and see how they write. Ooh, I think I might see a little hint of a pink sheen around the edge here. Well, isn't that interesting? Let's see, can you guys see that? I don't know. It's hard to pick up on the camera sometimes. But that's very interesting. It gives it a little bit of spice. Alright. Now we have the Caveco Royal Blue. And that's a softer, more purpley looking blue. And this one does have a little bit of red sheen around that wetter area. Is that showing in the camera? So hard to tell. But just a hint of sheen on this one. That's very pretty. Next we have Caveco Smoky Gray. And I was thinking that there was some shading up here in the letters, but that might have just been the glass nib. Maybe the ink wasn't coming off the glass nib very well. So it's hard to tell. But I'm looking in this darker area and I'm seeing some hints of yellow. That's really weird. I don't think it's sheen. I could be wrong. But it's just looking yellowish in there. I don't know. Can you guys see that? the limitations of cameras. But this just means if you're interested in a gray ink, that you'll have to get a sample of this and try it out and see what you think. All right, here is Monteverde Dark Blue, and this is definitely looking like a blue-gray. I really enjoy dark blue inks, but I would not call this a dark blue. This is definitely a more gray ink. Now, of course, Caveco Smoky Gray is really gray, but the dark blue is just looking really gray. I think there are some Iroshizuku inks that are all different shades and types of grays, and I think this might compare to one of those. But I don't think I have any of those. Very interesting. All right, here is Monteverde Sapphire. Wow. Wow. That has some bright yellow sheen. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's showing up on the camera, especially over here. It is just bright yellow. That is crazy. Very nice. Very pretty. And a much more saturated blue than the Caveco blue. So this would definitely be my preference. Alright, then we have Diamine Meadow. And it's, again, it has a little ring around the dark area, but I don't think that's sheen. I just think that was from the heavy amount of ink on the paper. But still very pretty, and I feel like this is a really usable green. Some of the lighter greens that I've tried have just been just so pale, I think they would be hard to read, but I think this one looks very readable. Alright, here is the Lamy Red. And again, wow. It is like neon pink. It is not red at all. So no wonder this was a, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Brian Goulet said this was a poor seller. And no wonder it's a poor seller if it's red. Somebody buys this ink expecting to have a red like this. Something like that, and they get this one. Yeah, they should just rename this one and call it, you know, I don't know, Pink on Fire or something. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. What would you call this ink? It's like a pinky orange coral and it's got some sheen on it. Wow, there's just a whole lot of stuff going on with this ink. Woo, very interesting. And last but not least, here's our friend Robert Oster, Aster Kieserat. Just a nice reddish brown, brownish red. I guess it's a brownish red. It's mostly red with some hints of brown. That darker maroony kind of color. And again, there's some color going around the edge of the wetter area, but I don't know if I would call that sheen or not. But still very pretty. Robert Oster inks are very nice inks, and I do hope to get some more in the future. Alright, so those are our swatches for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have some samples that have been hanging around, don't forget to break them out and give them a swatch too. And if you enjoyed my video, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.